Today I fucked up by eating a homemade family-sized lasagna for every meal over 2 days. I made a terrible mistake and learned a valuable lesson. Allow me to walk you through the last 3 days of hell. My housemate went on holiday Tuesday morning, leaving me alone for the week. I don't often get time alone, so I planned my time around working a little each day, then playing games for the rest of the day. About 12 p.m. and several joints I was getting hungry and had an amazing idea. I was gonna make a massive homemade lasagna and eat it over the course of the week. At this point I had no idea what it would do to my body, and if future me could talk to the me from Tuesday, I would have warned him. Day 1 Tuesday morning. So I get all the stuff and spend an hour or so making a massive, 7-layer lasagna with nearly a whole block of cheese, several tins of tomatoes and a layer of applesauce in the middle to give it a sweet tang. It was enough to feed 10 paole easily. It smelled so good. Tuesday lunchtime. Portion 1. I fried some chips, fries and garlic bread and sat down to eat. It was amazing. I was so thrilled it turned out great. Tuesday's evening. Portion 2. Still just as delicious, even better maybe after letting it sit for a few hours. Nothing brewing in my body yet, it was the calm before the storm. Tuesday midnight. Portion 3. I believe this was my first mistake. I had been smoking a few joints and watching a VGN on YouTube, and all of a sudden I remember that I made a massive lasagna. I tried to resist, but my stoner brain only lasted about 5 minutes before I had more and cooked some midnight garlic bread to go with it. It still tasted good. After eating I noticed I was starting to get acid relax. I took an lansoprazole and tried to sleep. Wednesday morning. Portion 4. I woke up and my stomach was grumbling, so I went and plated up another helping of lasagna. It tasted okay, not as delicious as my previous 3 helpings, but I put that down to it being early and I had just woken up. It's at this point my stomach acid kicked up again and I needed a shit really badly. I ran to the toilet and had the runniest shit I'd had in a long time. It was almost painful. Now at this point you would normally go, maybe I should lay off the lasagna for a bit, but it never occurred to me at the time that 4 meals of lasagna could produce such bad bowls. I felt better after, so quickly forgot about it. Wednesday lunchtime. Portion 5. I know it might seem crazy, but at about 2 p.m. I was hungry. I had work to get on with but didn't have the time to cook anything and nothing to grab quickly except lasagna. So back I went. At this point half the lasagna is gone and half remains. This time the lasagna didn't taste that great. But I ate it cause I needed to have something to give Nay some energy. I realized at the point that my stomach felt weird, like painful and uncomfortable. I made myself some coffee and expected a poo, but nothing came. Just a horrible feeling something wasn't right. Wednesday evening. Portion 6. The final portion. After finishing work I looked at the remaining lasagna. I thought, maybe it's cause I've had no salad or vegetables with it. That will make it taste better and give me something to sort my stomach out. So I made some salad, more garlic bread and the final portion. I knew immediately after eating it I had made a terrible mistake. My bowels started aching and making noises. I ran to the toilet and as my ass hit the seat, a volcano of red hot shit erupted from my anus. It was so painful, my ass was on fire. Some of the shit came out so violently that it somehow shot upwards, pebble dashing to toilet lid behind me. I don't even know how that's possible. Maybe shit collided with other bits of shit in motion and exploded. Either way it was the worst toilet experience of my life. Then came the smell. It was delayed, almost, like I was in so much pain the universe said, let's give him a minute before we hit him with the smell. It was like acid. This putrid gas almost instantly made me feel sick. I wanted to run out of the toilet and seek fresh air, but the shit was still exploding out of me. I had no choice but to hold my nose and breath through my mouth, which was horrible. All I thought was, I'm getting this acidic shit smell in my mouth. After what seemed like 5 minutes of lava bursting out of me, it stopped, but at what cost? My butthole was still on fire. It's like someone was holding a lighter to me anus. The smell was so bad I had to wipe quickly and escape this hell I had created, but my anus hurt so much every wipe was like dragging sandpaper over it. I winced with every wipe and was almost in tears, and it was so messy it took a lot of wiping. I stumbled put of the toilet, like a cowboy who's been on his horse for days. I couldn't sit down. All I could do was lie on my side in bed and try to get to sleep. Thursday morning. I woke up and I could instantly feel my anus burning. Before I'd even registered I was awake. What's worse is that I needed another shit. I was terrified at this point. After yesterday I had toilet trauma. I knew there was still a portion of 2 inside me and it wasn't gonna be good. It went just how you expect. It was another foul-smelling liquid shit that each strain felt like a knife in my anus. I held onto the towel rail and forced as much out as I could each push. I figured if I can get it all done quickly it wouldn't be so bad. It kinda worked, but I think the damage was done at this point, so I painfully cleaned myself and waddled to my desk and worked standing up for the rest of the day. Thursday lunchtime. The constant pain subsided, but I still had bad gas and every fart was agony. The smell was just as bad though. Something was still rotting inside me. At least I could sit down to work now. I wasn't hungry and decided to fast for the day. I didn't dare put more food in me. Thursday evening. As I type this, I'm lying in bed, on my side. I can feel the last of the lasagna on its way and I'm dreading going through this, even if it's one last time. My anus still burns when I fart and that is happening often. It's freezing cold, but I need the window open to let the smell of my approaching shit out. There's a lesson to be learned here. Don't under any circumstances eat nothing but lasagna and garlic bread for every meal for 2 days. Nothing good can come from it. Too long did not read. I ate nothing but lasagna for every meal for 2 days and now my anus is on fire constantly and I smell like a rotten skunk. Edit. Clearly my fuck up was leaving it out for 2 days. I appreciate all the concern. As for the applesauce, it wasn't a thick layer, I just spread some out on a layer of pasta. When it cooks, the moisture in it evaporates and you just left with the sugar really. I like sweet and savory. At least it united a portion of Reddit in food safety rules and a universal disgust for applesauce and lasagna. Thanks for the helpful advice and making me laugh a lot. I stopped reading it. A layer of applesauce. You deserve it all. Dude, please tell me you didn't leave the lasagna out for 2 days, and you put in the fridge. Especially if you made it with eggs. I'm wondering if this is a lesson in proper refrigeration? Did you leave a cheesy lasagne out on the counter for a few days? I feel like taste wouldn't degrade that much normally. I've read your answers to a couple comments. Your issue has nothing to do with eating lasagna for 2 straight days and everything to do with leaving it out on your counter at room temperature for those 2 days. There are vanishingly few prepared foods you can leave at room temperature for that long. Lasagna is absolutely not one of them. The true today I fucked up is not having a basic understanding of food safety. I did this exact same thing this week except for 3 days and was absolutely fine. But I did keep it refrigerated and reheated each portion before consumption. And I also didn't put fucking applesauce in it. That was definitely food poisoning. I consider myself fairly lax about food safety, but even I would be hesitant about eating lasagna left out for over 6 hours, let alone 2 whole days. Also, applesauce? Today I fucked up by kicking my course mate in the balls. The other day in class, I, F18, met a guy called John, M20, not real name, in one of my uni classes. He joined later than everyone else so didn't have any friends. We chatted in class a few times and he usually sits next to me in class. He always stayed behind to talk to the professor after each lecture, so we don't walk from class together. Today I was walking home from my lecture to back halls. This is about a 20-minute walk unless you take the shortcut through some woods, then it becomes a 10-minute walk. I'm in the UK and it was 6 p.m. so it was already very dark outside. I decide to walk through the woods. I'm alone walking in the dark when I hear quick footsteps behind me. I assume it's just a runner because we get them a lot on our campus, and I keep walking. Suddenly, someone grabs my arm very firmly from behind. I panic, turn around, and kick this person very hard in the balls before he can speak. It was my new course mate John. Apparently he had called my name out, but I didn't hear, so he thought the best course of action would be to run up and grab me. Being autistic, he didn't seem to realize that being a large 6'4" man surprise grabbing someone in the dark was pretty scary. He literally doubled over in pain and I felt so bad. After explaining myself and apologizing, we walked awkwardly in silence and I think he might hate me now. Too long did not read. Today I fucked up by kicking my course mate in the balls because I was scared, probably ruining our friendship. Today John learned an important life lesson. Don't let this interaction deter you from doing it again if it happens again. Be safe out there. And that's how I met your mother. Nah, you 100% did the correct thing here by protecting yourself. His fuck up, not yours. Think he might hate me now. I doubt it. John is probably still processing. It's extremely distressing to get kicked in the balls and yes, it can easily get you mad. But in this situation he likely sees that it was an honest mistake based on his honest mistake. But not having a person to easily blame is actually tricky. Now he's circling between being pissed off, the brain wanting to blame you, his reflected thinking knowing you're not to blame. Just be friendly the next time you see him and the pain should have faded. Make sure you give John your perspective so there's no misunderstandings. Today I fucked up by taking headache medicine from a nurse at work. I work at a nursing home as a nurse aide and I'm one of a few that work 6A 6P instead of 7A 7P. This means I come in while night shift is still working. Since I worked night shift before, I had several friends on that shift. On this particular day, I woke up with a pounding migraine. Usually if that happens, a nurse will give me OTC medicine like Tylenol or ibuprofen. So I go and ask a nurse friend for something. She's a lot older and is a little sketchy, but we always got along. So she digs around in her med cart and tells me to close my eyes and open my mouth. I'm a little confused, but I do it. She pops a pill in my mouth and hands me some water to drink it down. I ask what it was and she said don't worry about it. Okay, so I go on about my duties. Maybe 30 minutes later I'm in the middle of helping serve breakfast and start feeling dizzy and like I'm gonna pass out. I take off to the bathroom and sit down on the floor. I start feeling hot and I'm just trying like hell not to go unconscious. Other coworkers are checking on me and brought me a wet rag since I was sweating profusely. I finally feel good enough to leave the bathroom. My boss tells me they have someone to cover for me and sends me home. The thing is, I have had reactions like that before on narcotics, like Lortab and Percocet from previous injuries. I know that nurse gave something like that to me, which also means she stole it from a patient because those only come as prescriptions. Too long did not read. Nurse coworker drugged me with a narcotic when I asked for OTC pain meds for a migraine and I had a horrible reaction and had to leave work. Edit to add. The only thing about this story that is not true is that it happened several years ago when I was maybe 21-20 seconds, so not, today I fu, more like, years ago I fu. No offense to you at all, but if someone told me to close my eyes and open my mouth, to give me some sort of medicine, it is not happening. Hope you're okay. She likely gave you sumatriptan. It's a migraine medication. It can absolutely do what you just described. My wife hates the stuff. What the hell is wrong with her? And you, for that matter. Know what you're ingesting. You need to go and see a doctor. Ibuprofen and paracetamol don't do shit for actual migraines and, as you've just learned, allowing coworkers to give you random drugs without finding out what they are or whether they'd help doesn't do you much good either. Go see a doctor and get meds that can actually help if you're having a migraine. You reported this, right? Or will report this, hopefully. Can't prove shit since Mr. Genius here went along with the close your eyes, open your mouth nonsense. Also, as an addict, it's very unusual to see someone complaining about this. Rolling on the floor laughing. Today I fucked up by muttering, "Oh my god," under my breath at work. I work at a clothes store and I was in charge of fitting rooms. I got a call on the phone and I couldn't really hear the lady very well, so I said, "What?" And she was one of those people who was like, "Don't what me?" I muttered, "Oh my god," and she heard me and asked for the manager. I told her I couldn't leave where I was and said, "I'll see what I can do," and hung up. I'm really scared she's gonna report me and get me fired. I know I shouldn't have muttered that, but it just slipped out. Is it possible for her to report me? Or am I worrying too much? I can't stand people like this. Has anyone else ever had this happen to them? Too long did not read. I muttered "oh my god" under my breath on the phone with a Karen and she heard me and demanded to speak to the manager. What call? What are you talking about? The phone rang, you answered, but it was empty on the other end, and you hung up. If someone asked me, what? I'd repeat myself without a second thought. And I'm an old codger. If that was the worst thing that happened to me in a day, I'd jump up and kiss my own ass. What some consider fine others choose to find offensive. The only thing in life I have control over is my own attitude. A lot of sanctimonious comments over a minor telephone exchange. Sounds like your customer service skills need work. Don't say, "What?" Say, "I'm sorry ma'am. Can you repeat that? It's loud in here at the moment." Doubt you'll get fired for it, but effective communication is a skill and you can work on it. Retail worker here. Just chill out, and if you end up getting a talking to, just explain you're stressed. An understanding manager will probably just let you off with a verbal warning, if anything. Secondly, never answer with, "What?" especially customers. Despite what some chuds are telling you here, it's your job's policy, no doubt. If you want your job, stop following the tips of jobless Redditors. All stores, offices, etc. will never answer with "what." Putting that aside, you'll be fine. It feels to me like, "What?" is rude. I don't know when, where, why I picked up this association, nor how universal it is. She wasn't a Karen, you were just rude. Repeatedly. Pull your shit together.